All right, how's it going? February is here. Last month, we covered the theme of the myth about recreational hockey. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Felix. I'm also known as the Asian Goalie. I stream 3 to 4 days a week on Twitch, and today is one of the day when I actually do an Asian Goalie show where I would invite guests to my show and we talk everything about beer league hockey or recreational ice hockey. So this month we're gonna talk about things that only beer league goalies would appreciate. I literally went on Reddit about a week ago and I make this post and I was like, hey, there are certain things that I really feel like one of those lonely moments when you're like focusing on the ice, you're the only person in the team who put on pads, and you have this dedicated space. You feel like you're kind of I feel a little isolated, but it's actually not. Like, I feel special, but at the same time, it's just kind of like weird when you're like the only goalie, when you're the only person that know what this position really like. And I just feel like not many people, when I'm sitting in the dressing room, they know how I feel, how I think. And I got a lot of comments saying like, wow, there's just so many things that only beer league goalies can really appreciate. As usual, I have guests who have actually a lot more experience than I do coming in to really share their thoughts about that particular theme as well. All right, so just to remind everybody, this is a Ask Me Anything environment, meaning that you can participate in chat, right? You see me here doing it. It's not just me and my guests. So if you have any conversation that you want to spin off of anything that we're talking about in the conversation, feel free to comment in the chat. I'll read that out. If you have any questions, I'll read that out as well, and we'll kind of discuss that question a little bit more. And today's topic, well, we're gonna focus a little bit more on the interconnected relationship between the goalie and defenseman. So we are goalie. What is the relationship? And as you can see in my Twitch title here, I said the relationship is complicated. It is complicated sometimes when you don't know how you communicate with defensemen, or you just feel like, man, they're just always in front of you, like you don't know how to communicate with them. Man, I think there's a very close relationship that we can build, but I always wonder, how do I build that relationship, right? So without further ado, I want to kind of introduce my guest here. His name is Chris, and he has played hockey since the age of 14, and he has played ice hockey for like over 10-12 years already. So he has something to say about this topic, and I'm very excited to invite him here. All right, Chris, are you here with us?
I am here. So my name is Chris. I've been playing hockey since I was 9. Started playing goaltender when I was 12. Started playing on ice when I was 14. And I've been doing it a long time, and I do it a lot. So I feel like I got a good amount of knowledge you could pry into. I feel like I could give some insight. So there we go.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Maybe let's start off with kind of how you get started with hockey. Like, were you started more like, were you growing up playing hockey?
Not really. When I was growing up, I played some basketball. Didn't really do it for me. And what actually got me into hockey was kind of funny. I went to my grandparents' house, and I started playing NHL 2000 on PlayStation 1. And that got me obsessed. And once I started playing that game, my dad always was a big New York Islanders fan. So he would watch the games, and I would start, once I started doing that, I started tuning in, started getting a feel for it, and I was like, Dad, I want to do this. And then my mom said if I got straight A's on my report card, I could do it. And then I got a B+ in one subject, but we won't talk about that. She let me play anyway.
So how long have you been playing ice hockey exactly?
So I'm 26 now. I started when I was 14. So 12 to 13 years, depending on if you count the carryover.
Got it. So you kind of accidentally started in ice hockey? Like you kind of like the game, the NHL game, and then you're like, okay, I want to play this. Like, how did you get into, like, you just joined a league or something?
Yeah, I went down to, well, this is way back when I was still a forward. Well, when I was starting out, I was a forward. And I was 9 years old, and my dad just knew of a league. He saw that I was taking an interest. I told him I wanted to play, and he said, all right. He took me down. It was a roller hockey league, outdoor rink. It was kind of cool in Staten Island, New York. So kind of on the outskirts of New York City. And that's where I got started. I scored a goal in my second game. That was a good start.
Oh, and, nice.
I think I went like 2 seasons without a goal after that.
So you start off as a forward, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and how did you transition to goalie? Like, how do you find that interest in playing that position?
So I was always interested. I kind of I was always interested in goaltending, but like the equipment was just so expensive, so I didn't want to. My parents didn't want to put it up front at first, and I wasn't sure where I was going to go with hockey. So, like 9 years old, you don't know what you want to do. But I kept at it, and eventually, the league I was playing in, our goalie got hurt, so I stepped up. I said I'd fill in. They had some used equipment, they had some old equipment around, and
Okay.
they suited me up, and then I started, and then I built my gear from there, and obviously got better stuff. But not still wearing the same pads, but yeah. So that's how I got started. I kind of had a natural feel for it a little bit. So obviously, when everyone starts, you're terrible. But I was less terrible than I could have been, if that makes sense.
Have you got any professional training when you get first started, or you just kind of like figure it out
Yeah,
yourself?
kind of just figured it out as I went. I had some very good coaches in high school. They got me along pretty good, and if it wasn't for them, I don't know if I'd be as good as I am now. But
What
uh,
is the most difficult thing that when you first started goalie? What do you find the most difficult when you
well,
start?
most difficult starting out was definitely, and I've gotten very good at this now, just years of doing it. But it's the mental battle. You give up a bad goal, you're rattled, you're shaken. Um, And when you're starting out, you give up a lot of bad goals. That's just how it goes. So if you can't keep your head in check, that's like the biggest thing. Also, the other thing is cardio. Like you don't
Uh,
realize it. It's a different kind of cardio. It's very weird. Like you can go
yes.
skate laps all day long, but the second you play a net, you're winded. And it goes the other way too. Like I could play net for 3 hours in a row, and I'll have my moments of being winded, obviously, and then I'll go and play forward one day, and I'll be the one who's winded. So it's like a different level of being in shape. It's like a whole different ball
That
game.
is very true. I don't know how to explain this, but you have to kind of do it to really
Yeah, you
get
have to
it.
try it.
Like you have to try it. Like when I first started, um, I go on a drop in, right? Like, cause
Mm,
I play a little bit of ball hockey because I was like, okay,
mm,
I want to play ice hockey. I play some ball hockey and I learned ice skating at the same time. And even I was just dressed up as a ball hockey person. I do all those stuff. Like I don't feel a lot of like I like work out a lot. Right? I feel like I'm
mm.
okay. Okay, cool. The first time I go on the ice as for pickup, I was like I almost threw up. Like it was so bad. Like I can't like my body just don't know how to react to all the
Yeah,
things that I do, and I'm so used to trying hard, like always trying to get all the saves that I can.
of course.
So like after 2 or 3 times, it's just like I'm so gassed out. Like I can't like stand up anymore. But yeah, I totally see what you're saying. Like you have to do it first though.
You have to do it. You have to try it once and then just see for yourself. But I still struggle with that. I'm a pregame warm up superstar. I'm going hard for every
Okay.
puck. I'm just a nutcase.
That is something that I actually have prepared. That's great that you kind of bring it up. Was what are kind of your warmed up habits that you have when you go on the ice? What are some of the things that you must do or you always do?
Well, I'm not very. I used to be back in the day, but nowadays I'm not very ritualistic. I play a lot, so like I just kind of go to the rink matter of factly, and I don't have any weird superstitions. But typically, get dressed, hang out in the locker room, maybe have a beer or two with the guys, and then get ready to go. Get on the ice. I like to do my groin hamstring stretches and hip stretches, and then I 2 3 minutes of that, and then I jump right in the net.
Okay. When you're on the net warming up, like, do you talk to anyone like how you want to be shoot at and stuff like that?
I just let them take charge. Usually, my guys are pretty good. The guys I play with, they warm ups. Occasionally, you get someone who's trying to deke you first shot, which obviously is a big
Yeah.
no no. But usually the guys when they warm you up, they get you slap shots from the point, keep them low, then eventually start working them higher and higher, get some wrist shots going. One thing I really like is when they start getting 2-on-0s and 2-on-1s going in warm ups, but beer league you only get 5 minutes, so can't always get to
That's
those.
true.
Um, and then you can start working in the dekes and the fancy moves. Those are always fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I personally would make sure because I think my biggest pet peeves is when I'm not warmed up. When I say when I'm not warm up, it's like I know I can get certain things done properly, but because I'm not putting the time to warm up, and I just kind of like let in a few goals, I'm like, damn it, like that just downward spiral right there is like, mental game, like you said, and all that. It's like
Exactly.
like you have to kind of get out of that. So what I do a lot is I make sure I skate around the crease, like doing all the T pushes, slides, just a couple ones, even though if it's actually
Get your feet wet.
Yeah, get my feet wet. One thing that I learned that when I was hearing back to some of the guests that I talked to was warming up the eyes. Like get used to the puck shooting at you, seeing the puck, actually trying out the kind of hand-eye coordination and all that stuff. Because despite how much you're always doing the same thing, I think our mental state, our physical state every game is a little bit different based on the time that we want the ice, based on this. So it's like I always want to try to do certain things to make sure that I'm warmed up. So
See, for me, a big thing for me is just getting the body warmed up. The eyes, I feel like that's good. I might start doing that more. I never really thought about it so much, but I like to make sure my body's loose. I can't go into a game, or I can go into a pickup because it doesn't really matter if you give up a goal, just like a open skate or whatever. But going into a game, I got to make sure everything's loose, everything's well oiled, lubricated, ready to move. Because if you're tight at all, it's just uncomfortable.
Do you have any kind of off ice stretching that you do, like as a habit?
Not really, but that's mostly because I probably play a good 4 times a week, so my body's usually sore, and I'm just like, and I stretch so much when I'm playing, and I stretch before, I stretch after. I usually do the same stretches before and after, and I'm already getting a lot of stretching in. I mean, I could always use more, but that's again the mental battle. Sometimes I really just don't want to do it.
Talk us through a little bit, kind of the mental battle that you have. Like you mentioned that a couple times. I kind of want to hear your perspective. What you mean by that?
Well, in that case, I mean the simple, like you're laying on the couch, you're comfortable and don't want to get up. But
okay.
When it comes to the game itself, it's just like when you just can't dwell on the goals, Like you give up, even if it's a goal that like they worked hard for and they earned that goal, but you still had that small chance of getting it. And you could have had it on a good night, and just when things aren't going right, you just gotta, it's like the pros always say, game by game. It's like we'll take it the next game at a time. Goalies, the same thing, except you take the next shot at a time.
Yes,
you always take the next shot at a time. And another thing that always, I know Marty Brodeur used to do this. My high school coach introduced me to this, and I kind of subconsciously just do it now. Is just play 5-minute periods. Watch that clock. Okay. 5 minutes at a time. You give up 2 goals in 5 minutes, you had a bad period. But then the clock goes from 20 to 15. Now guess what? You got a clean slate in your mind. Obviously in the game you're down 2-0, but nothing you can do about that because it already happened. So just in your mind, keep a clean slate. Like, oh, okay, now I didn't give up any goals in the next 5 minutes. I won that period. Take that attitude all the way down.
When you say the 5 minute, I actually, my first time hearing it, but like, do you look at the clock and like count 5 minutes, or how does that work exactly?
Yeah, just like in a game, some leagues start at 20 minutes, some leagues start at 15 minutes. Just count it down, 20 to 15, 15 to 10. Those are your periods. Those are your personal, mental periods.
Okay. When you reset, do you just go like, okay, cool, like is there anything particular lines to talk to yourself? Like, okay, 5 minutes here. Like what do you talk to yourself?
It's usually starts. Usually I look at the clock and I say, okay, next 5 minutes are here. I'm not giving them any goals the next 5 minutes. It's just as simple as that. It's just little things you tell yourself, and it seems stupid, but then when you do it, it kind of works. It kind of keeps you at ease. It keeps you calm. Yeah.
The reason why I asked is I have kind of my own kind of thoughts about this too. Like I don't have the 5 minute rule, but I basically just say like any call I let in, I just say no matter it's different any time in the period, I just go like it's 0-0. Like it's always 0-0.
That's another good way of looking at it.
Yeah, because it's like that to me. It's like that one gave me the idea of okay, there's always a way to win this game. Like I'm kind of subconsciously kind of brainwashing myself. I'm like, yeah, there's still a lot of ways to win this. Next shot is next shot. Like just don't think. But I think more of, okay, since the last goal, what are some really good players that I have to be aware of? That's also another thing that I look at.
That's important. That's important.
Yeah.
Just like know where your dangers are on the ice at all times. So you know who can really rip the hockey puck. You know that.
Oh yeah.
So if he gets the puck, you make sure you're on top of your crease, you're square, and you're ready for it. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that to me it's very, very important, and yeah, it's great to hear the 5-minute rule. I'm gonna try that out
little thing.
when I'm on the ice, because to me it's sometimes I don't know if your rink is like that, but my rink sometimes it depends on which side I started first. There's only one side I can see the clock, so like sometimes if I'm behind, if I'm in front of the clock, I have to go like this. I have to like look backwards. So I usually just don't really care, and I found myself actually doing better not looking at the clock sometimes.
Mm-hmm. You know, I've heard that from a lot of guys. For me, I feel like it doesn't really make much difference, but I've heard that from a lot of guys. A lot of guys feel that way.
Mm-hmm. I think it's more like the score, not really the clock.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, you got it.
Cool. All right, so I want to kind of go into kind of our main topic here about kind of the interconnected or complicated or whatever you call the relationship with the defensemen. And I think this is kind of maybe a very frequently talked topic in the pro level, but I don't think a lot of beer leaguers or recreational ice hockey players really take this seriously. And I think this is one of the aspects that could easily take your team on the next level. If the goalie can communicate well with the defenseman actually know what the goalie is looking for. So I want to kind of go deep into this, and I have a few scenarios that I want to kind of cover, and then I want to see your take, and I'll count my take. So the first scenario is a 2-on-1.
Okay.
So let's say you have a 2-on-1 coming in. Would you rather have your defense to go take on the pass or take on the shot?
Oh, they got to take the pass. They have to take the pass. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Yeah.
So no doubt about it.
No. Usually, if you have a guy, I mean, beer league, it's hard because there's all different skill levels, but usually you want a guy who has played a lot of hockey and is very comfortable in defensive position. They'll know how to both take the pass and cut down the angle at the same time. So they'll stay tight to the guy carrying the puck and try and force him wider, but also keep either a body part, stick, anything in that passing lane. So make sure if they're going to get it over, they're going to have to find a small hole, or they're going to have to put some good sauce on it or something like that. But that's obviously, you're blessed if you have someone who can do that effectively. So for the most part, just make sure they're taking the pass away. Make sure this way you can focus on what you have to focus on, and hopefully your defenseman trusts you. So that's a big thing, is trust. So you got to trust your defenseman.
True.
You got to trust your defenseman to take that passing lane away, but they have to trust you that if they take that pass away, you're going to be able to handle the one-on-one.
That is very well said. I think I almost 80-90% of the time when I talk to people and 2-on-1, what would they talk to the defenseman, what they prefer the defenseman do, is always take the pass. But for me, I have a little bit different take. I think it really depends, especially me sometimes. Well, especially this year, I think it's really different because I'm placed in a pretty high div. So like majority of the team that we play for, they're pretty good, like shooting, like they're freaking wingers, every single one of them. So like it really depends of who my D is. Like if I know my D is good, then I'll have them to take the pass.
Yeah.
But if I know that the shooter is really good, I would rather like just freaking take the stick and just poke it, like just try to deflect it. Yeah. Because I know the fact that I could probably make a better save sliding on the other side than actually have someone have all the times they have to try to pick a spot and shoot at me. So it really depends, but I would say I would prefer taking the shot myself and have the defense take the pass most of the time. But it's like it really depends. Like who is that guy who is having the puck, and who is that 2-on-1 right there? Is it their top line, or is it their fourth line? Is it their third line, right?
Also, another big thing is it's something I'm very comfortable with, is if the attacking forward with the puck is pushed like way out wide already, and they're already kind of like, I don't want to say by the boards, but they're further out than normal. They're not walking down the slot and ripping a shot at you. If my defenseman takes the player at that point, I would still prefer them to take the pass, but like that's a sticky situation because if they take the pass, it opens up the middle. If they take the shooter, then it opens the one-timer opportunity. But usually, if that player is so far wide, the pass takes long enough to get over that you can read it, you can kind of see where the other guy is, and you can handle it.
Do you talk to the defense like while during the game? Like, do you yell at them? You're like, take the pass. Like do you like do certain things like that at all?
I'm very vocal. I'm yelling all the time. Not maliciously, just loud so they can hear me. But I'll be screaming anytime there's an odd man rush, 2-on-1, a trailer, anything like that. I'm screaming 2-on-1, 2-on, or watch the drop. If they got a guy getting ready to step into a slap shot on a drop pass or something like that, or if someone's standing alone in the slot, just yell slot, things like that. Someone's chasing you on a breakout, just man on, left, right.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Got it. Cool. Yeah, it's I don't know. I think a lot in the game when I'm on the ice because I often feel like we have the best vision of the whole game out of everyone. So
we're
it's
sitting
like
there, we got a bird's eye view.
Yeah, it's almost like a chess that you're playing sometimes, but I have to read the play really well first. So that's why I think these kind of conversation with more experienced players and goalies, like it just opened my eyes sometimes to your perspective. Like, oh, I never thought of that. So it's good to hear for sure.
For sure.
All right, so scenario number 2. Okay, scenario number 2 is power play for the other team. So we are down 1 man, 5-on-4. How would you talk to your defensemen to kind of navigate them, or what would you tell them usually?
Assuming I'm not already out of breath enough that I still can talk, I feel like I kind of just treat it as if it's 5-on-5. I don't usually tell who is supposed to be where. I usually just say, okay, open spot here. But what I like to see is, it doesn't matter if they're playing a box, a diamond, or whatever. What I like to see is just, someone's always going to be open. Usually you leave the shooter, if he's at the point, you leave him a little space, maybe attack him when he's like gearing up to shoot. But I don't really say much when the puck is in the zone, except for pointing out if someone's open in the slot or something like that. Usually I'm just so focused on the play. I won't talk much in those situations.
Yeah. Same here.
Like unless I feel it's warranted.
I would say I resonate with you a lot on that because it's also like one of the main reason why I haven't been talking to my team a lot was because I'm often out of gas. I'm often just trying to look at the play. I just trying to do my part first before I talk to my team.
Especially in a power play, the puck's in your zone for damn near the whole thing. You're just sitting there, just
Yeah. What would be one thing that you would feel very like? What are some situation they would run into all the time when it comes to power play? Like, do you find some weak point that you're weak at that you always like? Oh, god dang it! Like, I thought I could do better on making save on this position, or some of the things that you.
For that goes day by day. I have a different strength and weakness anytime I go out there. Usually, I feel pretty well rounded, I guess. I feel like I don't have any one particular, like obviously everyone's got weak spots, but I feel like I'm pretty equal all around, if that makes sense.
Got it. That's good. Yeah.
Like, I would say I don't think I'm weaker on my blocker than my glove, or if I'm having a real bad day, my 5-hole's wide open, but when I'm having a good day, usually the 5-hole's shut down. So that goes on the day.
I have. Well, I mean, for any beginner goalies, I think one of the biggest thing that we run into a lot is we can't close our 5-holes.
Yeah.
It's like
that one
at this point I still can't, to be honest. But I'm so much better on putting my stick in front of the 5-hole, so usually I get the puck really well. What would you? Yeah. Are you able to close your 5-hole, or are you very like good with that? Would you say?
I'm pretty good with the 5-hole. Like I said, if I'm having a bad day, then I'm trying to overcompensate somewhere else, and then it's never good. But if I'm playing how I like to be playing, how I feel like I'm usually playing, I shut down the 5-hole pretty good. The thing is, a lot of guys think you just have to drop, but dropping's not going to get. You kind of have to drive into it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to
I know what you're
word
saying,
it.
but I don't at the same time because I heard people say exactly what you said. Like, oh, don't drop,
Mhm.
just drive. And I was
Like
like, what do you mean by drive?
you gotta like if you just drop, you're not gonna get there. Well, I mean, you could get there, but you might not get there fast enough. You got to really like just go down hard. You got to drive into those knees. You hopefully you got good knee guards. If not, then I don't recommend this. But if you got good knee guards, then just slam your knees into the ice, close it up, kind of open the hips a little bit, kick the legs out. Some guys kick them wider than others. Depends on how flexible you are, but
Got it.
it's kind of yeah.
Okay, so I would say scenario number 3 would be
Okay.
flipping the other side. You're on a power play. Is there? Well, I would say it's not really how you communicate with defense, but like, is there any particular thing that you would do when you're on a power play? That, like, do you move out the crease a little bit more so you can get the puck? Like, what's your preference? What's your mindset when it comes to your team being on the power play?
I've noticed if the play's down the other end, I usually don't say a word. I sit back, I watch. Where I'm positioned, it depends on the day, I guess. I'm not strict on that. Sometimes I'll be back up against the post along the goal line. Sometimes I'll be 4 feet on top of my crease. But the one thing I'm always aware of where the puck is. I'm always focused. I don't take power plays off necessarily. I try and stay engaged, because the second you disengage, sometimes it's hard to re-engage. So you just try and stay engaged and just practice tracking. Just the whole time, it's just extra reps. Keep track of the puck.
I don't know if you have those moments, but I think it's a very common thing that I run into is when you are not taking a lot of shots, like for example, like a power play. Like you have 2 straight minutes, your team is doing so good. You just don't touch the puck, and then you're letting the freaking soft goals like right after the power plays end. Like it happens to me quite a few times, and I think it contributes a lot to what you say. Is like tracking the puck, making sure like you're still staying engaged. What are some of the things that you do to keep yourself engaged? And when you say track the puck, you're not just watching the puck, right? But like, do you have any like things, maybe slide around, kind of skate around the crease to make sure you're kind of still?
No,
Okay.
I stay completely still. I just stay completely still and I'm like hyper focused. I'm just watching, just keeping track of where that puck is at all times. Because you never know. Guy comes at you're usually paying attention to the clock. You know, you slam your stick when the guy comes out of the box. You know, but say something happens, the puck play comes down your end, all of a sudden it goes down the other end. You didn't get a chance to look at the clock. 2 minutes are up. All of a sudden that guy comes out of the box. He's on a break. Like things happen quickly, especially in hockey relative to a lot of other sports. Things just happen so quickly. Even beer league, the game's we're not playing NHL speed, obviously, not even close. But it's pretty slow, but it's still faster than most
sports,
if not all other rec league sports, you know?
Yes, I 100% agree with that. When I first started hockey, when I first started watching hockey, I'm like, where's the puck? Like, it just goes so fast. And it, like the puck is also so little, like, in compared to the balls or anything. So it's a really, really fast sports. And as a team sports, I would say it's a really fast. I play badminton a little bit too. It's also known as a very, very, very high speed kind of sports as well. But nothing like hockey that I think there's so much elements. Like you have the team aspects of it, you have each position doing different things, and
there's just a lot of moving parts. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We kind of talk about the little warmed up habits that we have. I think I want to ask a little bit deeper on the warm up habits part, because I feel this is something that I found warmed ups. It's something that I haven't find that one thing or one or two things that I'm comfortable with yet. Like I still feel like my first period is also shit. I don't know if you have that kind of same feeling, but I have the feeling all the time. It's like if my first period did great, the rest of my game would be great. But if my first period did shit, I will always it would just go downward spiral. What would you say towards this? Like, is there anything that you would advise me or advise anyone to kind of be better on warming up or be yourself prepared for the first period?
I again would focus more like warm ups, just the physical. The mental, that's harder. That starts before the locker room. That starts when you wake up in the morning. I mean, you might
Yes.
not be thinking about it, but you are thinking about it. And
Yeah.
I feel like the biggest thing is to make sure your body's moving exactly how you want it to move. That's that's my biggest thing when I get in there. It's the mental, like even if I had a awesome warm up, I don't really get into the game until I face that first shot or those first couple shots. And if I give a goal in one of those first ones, it might be a bad sign. Sometimes you can rally back, sometimes you don't. Um, I think just focusing on the first shot is really important. And uh, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I kind of I play a pretty mindless game, if that makes sense. I'm not really actively thinking, especially when I'm playing my better hockey. I'm never actively thinking, so I don't really. There's a lot of things I guess I don't pick up on, like, psychologically, as the game goes on.
I guess this is a good thing for people like yourself sometimes too. It's like I know I'm first aware that I tend to overthink, uh,
Hmm.
but I think it's also because I overthink sometimes. I see a lot more aspects that I could improve on. Not just I just play my game and I just done, right. But I also think, oh, how can I help my team? How can I talk to
Hmm.
my defense? Because those to me is more proactive actions that I could do. Like it's like before the shot even comes to me, my defense or my team already take care of it. I don't even have to worry about taking the shots. And I think that's what I learned about like Martin Brodeur, for example. Like I know that he has a lot of things that he does off the ice or things that people don't see while
Hmm.
you're not on the ice or you're not on the game that he does. We talk to people like how I want you to position yourself, how I want to see you, or how I see myself, right? Do you have a stable team that you play with, or you play with a lot of different teams?
A little bit of both. I have teams that I play on regularly, and then I'm just like a call me and I'll fill in kind of goalie at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I have three teams I play on. To be honest, I lost track because I played for so many in the past couple of years. Uh, but I have three teams I play on right now, and one of them is not starting back up till the fall, unfortunately. But yeah, I play with the same guys consistently. So there's been a chemistry building, and we know
So is
we
it
know how each
always
other
kind of
plays.
yeah? Is it always kind of the same full time team, like a league game team, or you're always subbing in three different teams?
No, I play for these three teams every game that I can. Uh,
Wow,
so they don't always run at the same time. Sometimes they do, but I like hockey. I'll
that's
play. I'll play.
dedication right there, man.
I'll play 6 days a week if I can. I always need one day to rest, but I'll play 6 days a week if I can. Not right now because
Wow.
the lockdown gets me.
Yes.
Since I started skating again, I've been really sore. But back when I'm back in full swing, I'll be trying to play at least 4 times a week.
No, good for you, man. Like, I think that's I don't know. I know my physical body can't really do more than two or three. Like
Mhm.
I would rather play two to three really good games than like four or five mediocre games. Like
Mhm.
knowing that I can't really recover enough if I just play too much. But
I
yeah,
feel I
that's
feel like for now, I guess I'm young enough. A couple years from now, I might have a different outlook, but I feel like I recovered pretty well. Like the next morning, I'm always sore, but sometimes by 7 o'clock, I don't feel anything. I'm ready to go. Then there are other times I skated three days in a row, then I need a day off, especially right now.
I run into a couple of goalies throughout the last year. They were telling me they're playing every day, and
Hmm.
they're not even playing every day. They're playing like twice a day.
That's too much.
Every I'm like, how? Like, first of all, I know like how many games could show up like that you can take, right? Like it's not like you want to play, you can play. It's like it's also the availability of games that you can sub
Mhm.
in. I was like, how did
Yeah,
that
you got other
guy
things going on.
like
To be honest,
I don't know.
if there was $1 million on it, I would eat it. I would play 2 games a day for 7 days in a row, and I think I would make it through. But the thing that would concern me is injuries, just fatigue on your
Yeah.
joints and on your just it's too stressful on your body. I can't see it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Okay, so this is more kind of like a general questions that I would say I would like to ask is what is one thing that you think is why people are so attracted to playing beer league hockey, right? Like you talk about you play a few times a week. Like what is that one or two things that give you that boost? You're like, oh, I want, like you're so hooked. I want to play this every day.
That's plain and simple. It's the best game. It's the best thing you
Sure.
can do. Like what else? What else are you gonna do? Watch TV? You know what I
Have you
mean?
played any other sports? Like,
Right now I'm not. Obviously with the lockdown it's hard, but I see I moved from New York to Buffalo 2 years ago. So before I had a whole bunch of different leagues. When I was playing in a soccer league, I was playing in a flag football league, and I played a lot of just pickup basketball. Since I moved here, it's been mostly just pickup soccer here and there, very few and far between, and all hockey. But also that's because hockey's my favorite game. So I moved up here to Buffalo, big hockey town. I could play 5 nights a week. Back in New York City, you could find the skates if you wanted to, but sometimes you were driving an hour to New Jersey, and sometimes you're paying like crazy toll money to get there and get back.
Don't tell me you actually went to Buffalo because of hockey.
No, I came here
Okay.
for work. Well, I went to college here, so I already
Got it.
knew what Buffalo was about when I moved back. It's a great city. Everyone should check it out. Don't listen to the haters.
No, listen to the. I went to New York a couple of times. I like that place. I mean, people are saying like New York are dirty sometimes. I'm like, it depends on the area, I guess. But,
Well, New York City can be dirty. Because coming from there, the main reason I actually moved here was because cost of living. New York City, I love both cities, but New York City is just getting too expensive, man. It's ridiculous.
yeah,
I'd still be living at my parents' house right now.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So, beep, 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 beep. Oh, do you have any kind of it's kind of I really want to drill down this question because it's like I really feel that there's always a thing about hockey that everybody's like, oh, it's the best game, right? You talk about it's the best game, but there must be some like interesting moments or interesting stories that makes you feel that way, right? Like, what is that got you hooked? Or do you have any like interesting story that you have about hockey, you playing or you watching somebody play that you go like, okay, this is the turning point. I started to like hockey so much.
Well, I fell in love right away. So the point where I started to like it so much, I don't know if I can say that, but I do have a lot of exciting stories. My favorite one I like to tell was so we won. It was only B division. There was A division, B division, C division at the time. It was only B division, but we won the New York City Catholic High Schools Championship. That was really cool, and it was especially cool because we were really underdogs the whole season. So we moved up. Put things into perspective. When I came in my freshman year of high school, I played junior varsity and I played varsity at the same time. But on varsity, I was only a backup. That's just because I went to a small school. We only had 2 goalies, so I was backup. I think the varsity team, if I remember correctly, either didn't win the year before or only won 1 game. So they were struggling, and the guys weren't bad. The players weren't bad. Obviously, some players are stronger than others, but we had 2 programs at JV and a varsity. We only had maybe 10 guys on varsity and 2 goalies, and one of the goalies was JV too. And then JV, we had like 12 guys. So we were just gassed after the first and second period. Third periods, we would always just get destroyed. So my sophomore year, we combined them. They stuck us down in the C division because we didn't do well in the B division year prior. So we went through that league. It was easy for us. I mean, I don't want to say it like that, but it was because we were playing schools with kids who similar to us the season before, where they only had 8-9 guys, and then we combined the 2 teams, so we had 20-something guys, and we were scratching guys, and we were benching guys because we had to get everyone ice time, and just that alone. And we had some good talent on our team, so we just kind of walked through that division and we won that championship. And then my junior year came around, and we were huge underdogs. We had 1 team come down from the A, or 2 teams come down from the A. They were supposed to steamroll the league, and we were coming up from the C. No one believed in us, and we started off pretty slow. I think we started like 4-6 was our record, and then we needed to go. I don't remember the specifics, but I remember we needed to win five out of our next 7 or something like that to make the playoffs. We wound up going 6-0-1, and we were in.
Wow.
We were in a, and that was the toughest stretch of the season. We played all like the top teams in the league. We just kind of like we played the first place team once. We played the second place team 3 times. We beat them. I think we beat them twice and tied them once. I can't remember. Then we wound up going to the final game of the season, and we were tied with one team for the last playoff spot, and we wound up playing them, and in the last game of the season, and I had the flu, but I played anyway, and we were tied 3-3 with 4 minutes left in the game. And then we scored 3 super quick goals, and then there was fights everywhere. It was ridiculous. and so we won that game, and we moved on to the playoffs. And round 1, it was a weird the way they set it up. So that win didn't just put us in the playoffs; it knocked us up a couple positions at the same time. So we wound up playing a lower seed, and we beat them. I think we crushed the first. The first round was single game elimination. I think we crushed them like 9-2 or something. And then second round was where things got interesting. So we're playing a team that no one expected us to beat. We were expecting to get swept. It was a best of 3 series. We were expecting to lose both. And we came out in the first game. We won 3-2. And all of a sudden, people started talking. Obviously, when I say people, we don't have sports writers coming in. We have a guy who did an article in the local newspaper. but
That's good. You have at least someone talking about outside the game.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was cool. It was cool reading his articles. But yeah, we came from 4-6. Now we're in the playoffs. We're beating a team that went like 12-4 during the season, and we went. I guess we weren't that far behind. We went like 12-6-1 or something like that. I don't remember. Or 10-6-1, 10-5. I don't remember. But we were playing them, and we stole that first game, and I actually the team around me played really well, but I actually like stood my ground that game and played a really strong game, and we got the 3-2 win. And then the second game, we were tied 3-3 late, and we wound up like just completely discombobulating, and we lost 7-3. And then we go into the third game, and we're down 2 goals late in the third period, and boom, score, tied it up. Then I think there was things were getting chippy, and guys were mad. And so a couple things got out of hand. There was a couple scraps, and I think we got a power play out of it, made it 7-6, and then boom, made it 8-6, and then they came down and they made it 8-7 at the end. But we ended up stealing that game, and now we're going to the championship. No, we didn't think we'd be there. Even like we didn't know we were going to be there. But all of a sudden it started to feel real, and the guys kind of rallied around it, and it was pretty cool. And then we went in and I think we swept. The opponent, but they had a cool story themselves because they beat the first place team. They were just like us. The team we wound up playing in the championship, they were just like us. They were like no one expected them to be there either, and they wound up knocking out the first place team. And then we played each other, and we wound up playing at where did we play? For all the New Yorkers that are watching, if any are watching, in Queens at the Olympic Center, in Flushing, and we wound up taking game 1 there, and then we went back to some bubble rink in the middle of nowhere for game 2. We wound up winning the whole thing. And that was really cool.
Sounds real cool. Like, is this something that is more like a college hockey or some sort? Like, what's?
No, this is high school. This is just
high school. Okay, got it.
I wish I played college hockey, but.
Oh man, I was like, this is one of the things that I was a little bit bummed about, kind of my whole journey of like I really hope that I started playing ice hockey much earlier, and the reason why I didn't play hockey that much earlier is I never had that culture embedded in my head before I come to Canada. It took me, I would say, a year or 2 years before I kind of want to play this sport, but I always have that impression of wow, this sport is so competitive, it's so fast, and being in a team would be like, it's a high bar of entry because like, who who would like to see a freaking Asian goal, like an Asian dude standing in front of a goal and try to like I don't fit in. I just felt like I just have that like mindset. I just don't fit into any of these teams because I don't know how to play, but I just want to play. So it took me 5-6 years until I was 24 and finally go like, okay, YOLO, right? Like I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, just lace them up and get out there. Goalie's tough because the down payment, I guess, but
Yeah,
but it pays for itself, because most guys let you play in their teams for free, and most pickup skates are free. It's like
it does.
that's just the hockey culture is like players take care of their goalies.
It's one of those things that I don't know how to explain this, but like a lot of people go like, "Wow, it's so expensive to get in." I was like, "Yes, yes." When I going through those kind of moments, it's not. Yeah, when I first started thinking about it, I was like, "Okay, it's just the money part." But I think what really scares me the most is I don't know anyone who actually played the
Yeah,
recreational level hockey. Like everybody I know who play hockey, they need to play since they grew up, or someone who play really competitively. So I'm like, where do I fit into that group, right? So it's like
yeah,
I just want to start. So I just joined like a recreational, basically the only league that I could search online that has an open spot that I could like join the league. And I was
hmm
just, okay, I would just go from there. I don't know what's gonna happen. And then I spent like the whole summer play ball hockey on one side and then learn ice skating on the other side. Like I literally had never skate before, I never play hockey before, but I'm gonna start doing it. But that was a very interesting decision that I made, that I think it would be one of the thing I will keep talking until the end of my life, like how I got into hockey
hmm
as someone who don't even have the culture to begin with.
yeah. That's something I can't even relate to be honest. Like I don't remember when I started when I was 9, but um, I know I just was playing for so long and it was all organized. It was like rec league roller hockey until high school, and then high school was I had the same teammates for 4 years. So I felt like even coming out, I felt that I was good enough to justify my being there, if that makes sense.
Ah,
So I didn't really have that like beginner level
yeah.
insecurity when you walk in, where you don't know anybody and you don't know what everyone's going to think about you. And I mean, I like to think I'm personable, so I make my impression in the locker room, and then and then on the ice, I felt like I was always. I mean, I'm not the best goalie in the world, absolutely not, but I felt like I was always good enough to justify my being there. Once I got
That's
into like adult rec league, once I got to that level.
yeah. That's good. I think this is really the main thing I want to kind of bring up to everybody who are kind of on my seat, is that a lot of all these things that I have in my head is just overthinking. Like I I would think that I need to do this, do that, do that, do that, do that first before I started playing recreational hockey. It's actually not. You don't have to. Um, as long as you have that thoughts of doing it and you have the money, the investment saved up to do
hmm
it, and just start doing it. That's kind of the message I want to spread, because I want to talk to more people who are exactly on my same spot as I do. Maybe you don't grow up watching hockey, or maybe you don't grow up playing hockey or knowing people who actually play hockey. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal at all.
Yeah, just lace them up and go. And you could get gear to start out with pretty cheap. The only thing you don't want to skimp on is a helmet. Um,
Mm.
Everything else you can get pretty cheap. I mean, I like to buy more expensive gloves just because I I play with a lot of guys who can really shoot, and if you have a cheap
Ah,
glove, you're you're gonna have a bad day. But yeah, everything else. I mean, I bought a used set of pads for a couple $100. Lately, since I've been replacing things piecemeal, like piece by piece, I've just been uh, buying. I've been putting the money in to get something new. But when I was starting out, it was all just play it against sports, and just going and get used gear and figuring out that, like calling old goalies I used to play with
yeah.
back when I was playing the rec league roller league when I was in before high school. And there's ways you can get started for pretty cheap. I mean, cheap obviously is relative, but for
Yes.
relatively inexpensive.
I think this is something that could get easily imitated people about like, oh wow, like there's like so many choice, so many options.
Hmm.
Everything looks expensive to begin with. You just want to make sure you make the right investment, right? When I'm reading a lot
Hmm.
of the Reddit posts, a lot of new goalies, what they ask is like, should I buy this? Should I buy that? It's like $200,
Like
$300, right?
read the reviews, go to a store. I mean, you could wind up ordering it online or getting it through a pro exchange or something, some kind of discounted,
What are
maybe
your
used.
Yeah, what are your preference when it comes to glove? You said you take a lot, you buy more expensive gloves. Like, what are your criteria when you're choosing a glove?
Well, I once I started using Brian's gloves, I can't go back to
Okay.
anything else because they come broken in. It feels like you're slipping on a mitten. Like it's so comfortable. I can't explain it. Like I was using when I started, I was using Reebok, and it was all I knew. So I kept getting Reebok every couple of years when my gloves would wear out. And then I tried on I think Sherwood made a glove at a time that I owned, and that one was not good. Wouldn't recommend that. Uh, the Reeboks at the time I would have recommended. Nowadays, does Reebok still make gloves? I don't even know. Um,
I don't think I see
but
them anymore.
I never wore a Bauer glove. I never wore a Did I wear a CCM glove? I don't think I ever wore a CCM glove. A lot of guys like the CCMs. I don't like them out of the box because I think they take more time to break in.
Yeah.
So just like going to a store, trying stuff on it, and like the CCMs. But um, yeah, Brian's my go-to for the gloves.
And when you are trying out the Brian's glove, you say it's every broken. Like, so is it good off the game? Like, you don't like, are their material good enough for taking hard shots?
Oh yeah,
That's
oh
always
yeah.
kind of the.
Well, I've been buying the pro stock stuff, so it's
Oh.
yeah, I put the money in, but they last longer and they're more protective, and I think it pays for itself in the long run. Short term, maybe not, but in the long run, it does. Like you could squeeze a couple years out of it, versus if you go with the cheaper model, maybe you get a year or two.
Yeah.
Depending on how often you're playing, obviously.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, you guys have to really watch some of the video clips that Chris has. I mean, he sent me a few, and I was like, this guy knows how to swing his glove there and do all those stuff. I'm like, I don't know how to do it, but I guess I'll get there. I think it's also one of the things that people are underestimate how hard to make a glove save. Like, I
Oh yeah.
think people look at gloves and like, oh yeah, it's not a big deal, but like when you actually do it, it's like it's not really that easy.
Oh, just think about it. A puck coming. Obviously, we're not facing NHL guys, so we're not facing 90-mile-an-hour wrist shot. But I mean, a puck's coming at you 70 miles an hour, and they're shooting from 40, 50 feet away. You don't have much
Mm,
time to react. So it's a lot of it is kind of knowing where it's going before they shoot it. Sometimes
very true.
I feel like I have a really strong glove. Is it stronger than anything else? Maybe. I'm not sure, but I'm very confident in my glove. So sometimes
Mm,
I'll even bait a little bit. I got to get out of this practice because sometimes I get beat with a lot of like better guys. But
yeah.
I kind of bait the glove side a little bit and kind of
Mm.
leave it a little exposed, give them a little taste of what could be, and then shut it down. But
That's good.
a
That's
lot
good.
a lot of it, because a lot of the shots, especially when you're playing with better, like higher level guys, it's just you can't really react, or if you do react, you're not. It's a physical reaction just from getting the reps. It's not even like you don't think about it. You track it with your eyes, but you don't. There's nothing going on in here. You're just kind of like you're reading and reacting. I don't know how to explain it. It's it's tough to explain.
I don't know how to explain it as well, but I remember last week I was going back to my some of the videos that I took of me playing. There were a few games I'm just like, how did I even make that? Like, how did I see it through? And how did I even actually take it? But it feels
Right?
natural. But it's like, cool, cool. I don't know how I did that, but it's really interesting how like the human mind and the
Mm-hmm.
hand-eye coordination, all that stuff works.
And a lot of it is just repetition. Like you do it enough in pickup skates, and you do it enough. I mean, most people playing beer league don't really get practice sessions, but you do it enough in pickup skates, and you play enough that suddenly it's like you just kind of know. You kind of read the puck off the stick in a way.
Yeah, yeah. One last question before we end here. Since we kind of talking about the theme of things that beer league goalie would appreciate, what is one thing that you appreciate and always will appreciate about your teammates when you play?
I like to. I know we talked before about the defenseman relationship, and I love having a defenseman who could has really good gap control and knows exactly where they're supposed to be at all times, and can force a shooter wide or take away passing lanes and on the fly, and just someone who knows how to position themselves to limit the attacker's opportunity. But at the end of the day, all I really care about in my team, I don't care. They could be the worst team in the world. Camaraderie, man. I like guys that hang out in the locker room. I like guys that you get along with, You don't want to play, like, you could play with the best guys in the world, but if it's not fun playing for them because they're just sticks in the mud, like, what's the point? It's beer league. We're not going to the NHL. You just want to go and have fun.
Very well said. I think this is a common theme that happened over and over again is we don't, as a beer league hockey player, we don't look for a really competitive play. I think it's a mix. You look for the competitiveness of it, but ultimately it's more of the satisfaction of everybody appreciate you, you appreciate the team, and appreciate the conversation that you have on the ice, off the ice, that relationship that you built. That when you're so into your daily work every week, and you have this moment when you can talk to people who are just outside of everything that you do. The people that you used to meet, like there's just a group of people that you're gonna just have fun with, and I think this is the ultimate fun about hockey and any recreational sports in general is why people want to do this. And I understand I play with a lot of different levels of different rec sports as well, and I found that's the common theme, but sometimes I just felt there are a different group of competitiveness of people that they're looking for, what kind of competitive level they're looking for as well. So it's like it's a balance between the level I want to be, but ultimately still the fun that you can have. Like, how do you define fun when you're playing a recreational sports?
How would I define fun? I'm always having fun, but usually, like I said, like you go to the locker room, you're hanging out with your guys. Like I like to get there early just because I like my teammates, and we hang out in the locker room for half an hour before the game while we get ready, and then go on the ice. And you want the guys to be competitive. Like you don't want to be playing. Like I like hanging out in the locker room with some guys, but I won't like playing with them so much because they're lower level guys, or or they won't really know what they're doing. We don't belong in the same leagues because we're just not playing at the same skill level. Same goes for upper level guys. I mean, obviously, if I'm the lower level guy, I'm not gonna admit it, but they'll say it about me. Are
you planning to start any YouTube channel or some sort? Because I know you've been taking videos of yourself playing hockey, or any plans on that?
I've always thought about it, but then I think about how much work it would be. And I don't know. Also, I like putting the GoPro back there for open skates, but I don't like doing it in a game because I almost feel like, I mean, I don't mean it in any way, but I feel like it's incentive for the other team, like incentive to light me up. It's almost like it's not even true, but it's in my head. Like it's just like an added incentive.
Got it. You know what? I'm thinking like maybe not this month, but for the upcoming months, there will be one theme that I definitely go in is talking to people who are like myself. I like kind of taking footage of the game and really why we want to do this. And I think it's gonna be a lot of fun talking to some of this is where a lot of my motivation comes in. I realize that there are a lot of people like myself doing the same thing. Like they're taking videos of themselves playing games and just have a lot of fun of that. I found a lot of people. So hopefully we could influence you a little bit. And I think it's a great thing for anyone who wants to improve their games as well. When you can go back and look at those kind of things. You got a lot of satisfaction when you make those glove saves. You're like, oh, I want to look at that footage right there.
It is true. When you have the camera back there, you made a 6 save. It's like, oh, I can't wait to watch that on camera.
Yeah. Even though right now I don't have any games, it's just like I go back to my game like, okay, that's why I play hockey.
I'll definitely be taking videos here and there, probably few and far between. As far as YouTube channel, I don't know about all that, but I'll definitely be trying to get the GoPro working more often. And if you want any clips, I can send it to you if you want to check them out.
Awesome. Yeah, oh, absolutely. We have a very, very welcoming and supportive. Like I would say, this is probably one of the most supportive, tight group that we have right now so far. So definitely welcome you if you want to kind of jump onto that that community that we have. It will be very cool. All right.
Sick.
Anyways, we are running out of time here. I really, really appreciate Chris you really spending your time. Guys, look at the setup that Chris has. It's like a professional setup right there. It's like with the good lighting, like his face is like he even have a better setup than I do. I can already tell. Like my background is bright sometimes, so my face kind of bright and sometimes not. But like look at Chris. Oh my god! Like with the with the podcast stuff, man. But the amount of time that he prepared for this, I can tell he really take this opportunity very seriously, and I very, very appreciate that.
For sure. And I got to give credit where it's due. I have no idea how to work any of this stuff. This is above me. This is all my roommate, Pat. He put the time in for me, helped me out, and he set me up. He knows what he's doing.
Well, at least you asked for that, and you take it. Like, I mean, it's ultimately, I would say I'll give most of the credit to you.
All right, I'll take it.
If you have anything you want to hear more about beer league hockey, any topics, anything that you want to kind of, we have a community here. Right, we have a lot of people actually play there with the experience. So if you want to know more about the show, the next guest, next topic, join the Asian Goalie community. I have a Discord server that we have people who play hockey, who actually love the hockey, and just feel free to come, and I'll be very active there too. So we'll chat a lot more if you like to be part of a community like that. Or you can follow me on Instagram at the Asian Goalie, and also you can follow Chris's Instagram as well.